So here's a quick video that shows you two different ways to do source inspection. So in the context of the resolution worksheet, we have 7 sources, and in the context of what we're about to do next, we're going to be working with the sources from the DeFrancesco scuba detection. So let's start easily with these sources. So to do source inspection, there's basically 2 main tools that I use anyway. If you have something else, great, but I'm going to show you the 2 ways that I know of to do this. So I'm going to select copy and paste this, or copy the coordinates here. If you go over to the URSA main page, you can go to find your chart and you can type in the position of the source you want. The default is 300 arc seconds. That's good for some things, but for source inspection I find that 30 arc seconds is pretty often what I need. For our region, we want DSS, Sloan, 2MASS, and WISE. We don't care about IRAS. We do want it to search the corresponding catalog. You could ask it to search within the entire image boundary, but for what we're doing here, a search radius is about 5 arc seconds is fine. For some of the DeFrancesco sources, you might need a bigger search radius. Let's go ahead and get that moving. So it's going to go and grab the same chunk of sky from all of these different surveys, and it's going to put the catalogs in here as well. So it's got a catalog from Sloan, which is overlaid on the Sloan images. It's got a catalog from 2MASS, which is overlaid on the 2MASS images, and it's got a catalog from WISE, which is overlaid on the WISE images. If you want to change what is overlaid, you need to click on the image. See how it's orange? Then go up to the layers, and it says, okay, I know about the Sloan catalog, but I'm not overlaying it on that image. I know about the WISE catalog, and I am overlaying it on the whole row. And I know about 2MASS, but I'm not overlaying it on the WISE catalog. If you pick one of the 2MASS images, then it changes. It says, okay, I know about the catalog, and I'm overlaying it on that row. You can, for example, ask it to overlay the 2MASS catalog on top of the WISE images. It's right on top of the WISE source because this one was an easy source. So that doesn't tell you very much. You can just see that it's changing as I turn it on and off. Now, from here, you can also get catalogs from a variety of other places. So if we go to the Catalogs tab and say, okay, I want to go see what Spitzer SCIP, the Spitzer Enhanced Imaging products, have from the SCIP source list. Now by default it's going to ask for the whole region. Let's go to cone and do just 30 arc seconds. So it's going to go away and get the catalog. Now because of a really obnoxious bug, it will not load in just one copy of the catalog. Sometimes it will load in 2, sometimes it will load in 8. It's super annoying, but it hasn't risen to the priority level on the list of things that we want to fix. So to get rid of the extra catalogs, you just click the X. So now I've got a catalog loaded in here, but you see it hasn't yet appeared on any of the images. So if we again select whatever image we want, go up to the layers and tell it, yes, please overlay the catalog. So here too, it really is finding just the one source that's there. If you click on the image where the catalog is overlaid, it'll jump to that source in the catalog. It's the one that's highlighted in green there. So again, it's not super hard. The source is right on top of where you want it to be. So that's how you get the source IDs for SCIP, for WISE, for 2MASS, and for Sloan. That's how you get the photometry and the coordinates of the counterpart. There's another way to do this. You can do it within here, one source at a time. You can paste in one by one, or you can load in a table file where you do multiple positions. Now the table file is just another flavor of plain ASCII. It basically is just prescribed RA and DEC with a particular header. If you click on that, you'll get information on the file format. What I should do is make sure that you have one. For Scuba, you do. For Scuba, it's got the table file. But for the resolution worksheet, because there's only 7 sources, I didn't make you a list of sources. You can also do this in an entirely different that way, you can go and load all of the images into DS9 at once, or most of the images. So because I have a Mac, I am working fundamentally like it's a Unix box. So I have in the box drive a file called ds9 call.txt, and it doesn't look like it, but that's one gigantic long list of files that I'm going to pass to DS9 on the command line. So if I go back over and make sure that I'm in the box drive, in the region that we care about, go to images, see here's the DS9 call, I'm just going to copy and paste that long line in, and it's going to slowly but eventually load in all the images that I gave it in the order that I gave it with the scale that I gave it. If you are working on a Windows box, you may want to use the same trick. There is a video that Milton Johnson from last year's team made for us, and so I've added it into our playlist here of CephCLABS useful movies. And it's the one that's at the very bottom, starting DS9 from the command line in Windows. If you are working on a Mac, you can modify this to make it work for you. You can change the path to be whatever path you have on your system, or you can load them in one at a time. If I start, say, let me put that in the background. If I start another DS9 window, by default it comes up with one frame only. So you do file open, go find the file that you want, and then do frame new, file open, load the second one in, then frame new, file open, load in the third. That takes a really long time when you have, 34 frames. So that's why I like to do it from the command line. So I've got all the images loaded in here, but they cover different regions of sky, and they need, especially the last two guys here, they need much different stretches. So I'm going to pick the MIPS tile here. I know it's MIPS because of the PSF, but you can see also if you look at the upper part of the frame of the DS9 window, you can see that when my mouse is on that, it's telling me it's MIPS 1. So I can do frame single to get that one in here. You see it? I think this is the one that I made for you so that it covers just the region of the sky that we care about. So region, load. I'm going to go load the regions file from the worksheet. Okay. I'm going to tell it, okay, load it into all of the frames. Okay. So now all 7 sources, the position of all the 7 sources has a red circle centered on that position, and it appears in all of the frames. But you see the frames aren't lined up, right? Well, that's going to be really hard. So let's go back to do frame tile. There's my MIPS image. Let's do single. Let's go find source number 1. Okay, let's get it zoomed in to the degree that I want, maybe here. Center the image on that source. And then if I do frame tile, you can see they're not lined up. But look, here's the active image. See, it's outlined in blue. Frame, match, frame, WCS. Snap. All of them have lined up now, north up, covering the same chunk of sky, regardless of pixel scale. It's lined up, all centered on source 1. So you can look at the individual tiles this way, or you can do single, and you can blink through them. With source 1 is always going to be centered, even if the other images are all over the place with different sizes. Let's go back to tile. Look at this. If I do this, you can see the scale is messed up. Scale parameters. Let's go from 0 to, 5. Apply. Let's go higher. You can drag now. That's probably good. Close. Next frame. Also goofy. Scale parameters. 0 to 1. Apply. Ah, let's try again. Scale parameters 0. Apply. There we go. Alright, so now if we go back to tile, we should see source 1 in all of those frames, and then you can make notes on what you see in each one of these frames. Now source 1, like I said, is easy. The other ones are going to be harder, and that's why it's useful to be able to compare the same source on many different images. So the advantage of having DS9 is that you can make the regions file just be of the sources you care about, and then be able to snap, do the frame, match, frame, WCS, and inspect each of the sources by hand. But you do have to move it around by hand, and you have to create the regions file. There's also no easily transparent way for DS9 to get the catalogs. The best way to do the catalog searches is from within Finder Chart, because you can search all sorts of catalogs. You can also load a catalog from disk. So different tools have different strengths and weaknesses, and I kind of move back and forth between them depending on what I need. Like I said, DS9 doesn't give you transparent access to catalogs, but Finder Chart does. And so that's, you can kind of use whatever tools are appropriate for whatever specific thing you're trying to accomplish.